and welcome to another episode of Lexx Education. It's the comedy science podcast where comedian me, Laura Lexx, tries to learn science from that pesky, ever-ill, nerdy younger brother, Ron.
Hello, I'm Ron.
Ron, you're still poorly.
Yeah, I got rid of one illness and just picked up another one.
Oh.
I had a horrible, tickly cough last week.
Oh, I know, Ron. I spent a lot of time editing it out of the chemistry results episode.
A lot of coughs on the cutting room floor. The coughing room floor.
Nice.
And now I've got a bit of a head cold. I went to bed at 9 yesterday and slept for 11 hours, and then I only worked this morning because I had to do a webinar. And it was one of the webinars that I do where it's just me talking.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I was just like, there was one point in the middle where I just had to stop and be like, look, if you didn't get that, can you ask a question at the end and I'll go over it again, because that made perfect sense to me. But I'm not sure if I said it and I know what I mean, which was fun. How are you doing? You at the end of your tour today, I believe?
Yeah, it's my last day on the tour tonight. I'm a bit sad, truth be told. I've really loved touring. It's been delicious. I like the stage time. I like meeting people afterwards. I like being able to be... Not that I'm not me all the time, but, you know, if you're there in front of a crowd that are there to see a lot of people, you need to be the most generalised version of yourself if you're going to be crowd-pleasing. Or maybe that's something I've been getting wrong in my career. Maybe I should just always be super, super me, and that's why some people, develop their comedy persona a lot. I don't know. Anyway, but I've really enjoyed the tour. It's been wonderful.
That's really good. Shame you've set up all of your life choices to make that really hard.
Well, people make it work, don't they?
Yeah.
It'll be all right. Next tour's already being planned, TBH.
Nice.
Next tour's going to be spring 2026.
Cool.
Which is terrifying that I can't do another autumn tour on. Do you know why?
Because that's when Tom tours?
No, Child of the Podcast will have started school.
Gross.
How wild is that? But I can't be too sad about this tour being over, because I will get to do it next year on the thing that hasn't been announced yet and at the Edinburgh Festival. So that's fine, isn't it?
That's very cool.
That's fine. Speaking of things that haven't been announced, guess what has been announced, Ron? Our Leicester show. Yeah, that's right. Come on. Come and see us on our annual trip to Twyford Zoo. Please. Come to Leicester, the Black Horse, in February. Get your tickets. Twycross, is that what it's called? Yeah. Get your tickets to come and see us. We love you very much. Join the Patreon, all that normal stuff. Now, Ron, it's biology results today.
Yes.
I think you're a bit glass half empty in this episode.
I've not listened, but that sounds like me.
I listened to it just now, literally in the hour leading up to recording this, only because I edited the chemistry results last night and I thought I'm going to get well confused between what we're doing. So I had a re-listen. I like two things. One, you are super, super grumpy. And even when it's going really well, you're like, oh yeah, you might have got that one completely right, but in a minute you fall off a cliff and land on your nose, and your nose is horrible to begin with. You're really cranky about it all. But here's what I love. I don't love a lot about my brain, but here's something I do love about my brain. When we're doing these exams, I care so much. And then by the time we do the results, I don't care at all. And that is very nice to have that level of dissociation between something that meant a lot to me mere days before. I really cared what the answer was. And now I listen back to myself, laughing at myself, just... Oh, it's a blessed state to be, being a sort of like a golden retriever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. A lot of people would see that as some sort of mental defect preventing you from sort of seeing things through to their conclusion. But I'm really glad that you enjoy it.
I've been thinking about this. I think it's why I'm bad at Sudoku. I just don't have the focus to care for long enough required to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that about myself. I listen back to myself and I think, what a happy little girl you are listening to yourself being a dum-dum. I think I laugh more in these episodes than in anything else, and that's fun for me.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of Christmas creeping into this episode, Ron.
Mm.
Goes out in December.
We're about to record a Christmas episode.
I'm so excited. I've got last tour date tonight and then going to Manchester tomorrow. And then when I get back from Manchester on Sunday, we're putting our Christmas tree decorations up.
That's exciting.
And Child of the podcast is sort of understanding Christmas a little bit more this year. She keeps saying, every time she sees a Christmas thing, she goes, and this is ho, ho, ho. And ho, ho, ho will bring me presents. Which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, yes, go.
Have you sorted yourself out and you're just going to come for Christmas with everyone else now?
No, we're just there for Christmas Eve. We can't come for Christmas Day.
We won't see you, I think.
Yeah, we're there from the 21st to the 24th.
Right.
Pow! Anyway, that's our Christmas plans. Look at Ron being cross, because for once I'm not the most flexible person in the family. Go. Listen to the biology answers. Bask in my genius. We'll see you after the show. I don't feel good about today because we were planning what time we were going to record yesterday. And then Ron sent me a message saying, have you got plans tomorrow afternoon? And I was thinking, that's weird. And I was like, well, you know, nephew of the podcast is here, so we're going to go swimming. What? Why? And he said, oh, in a shallow pool. And I was like, oh, that one round the corner, you know, that one. How come? And then there was me thinking, you know, is Ron planning a surprise visit? What's Ron up to? And then it turns out he was just checking I had people around me because of how little I was going to enjoy this episode. Oh, it didn't feel like it went well. Is it going to be tragic?
This is going to be a tough hour for you, Laura.
Oh, God.
Although I feel like you gave up at some point during this.
I didn't.
Okay, maybe giving up is the wrong word, but you got cross.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's because I didn't know any of the answers.
Yeah, it was a bit like in a driving test. After you got your first major, you stopped giving a shit about the minors.
Started mowing people down.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unfair.
No. Right, should we rip this plaster off?
Let's rip it off.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to send me the exam paper again?
Sure.
So that I can have a look at the questions again. Paid your Patreon money today, Ron?
Thank you. A princely £20 note. When...
And I paid you yesterday for Cheerful Airful too.
A princely £15 note.
We are swimming in cash these days.
That paid for my rail card that took slightly less than that off the price of the ticket.
It was more money than that, Ron.
I know, I'm razzing.
Razzing. Oh.
So, question 1. A student prepared some animal cells using a microscope. Question 1 was all about microscopes, all about the different parts of a microscope and looking at shit and stuff. Laura, name 2 pieces of laboratory equipment the student should have used to prepare cells to viewing a microscope. You said, Laura, a glass slide and a pipette. Our survey says, ding, ding, those are both correct. We're off to an okay start.
What do you mean an okay start? A golden start. A couldn't be better start.
Okay.
Ron, I got the whole of the first page right.
That is true.
100% for page 1. Oh, now it all went downhill. Look,
I wish I could say the same about page 2.
This was the whole eyepiece debacle, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, so question 2, name part A, basically just the bit at the top of a microscope. You debated between eyepiece and lens for a very, very long time. Do you know what it says in the mark scheme?
I don't know.
It says eyepiece/lens.
Oh!
So
look at me throwing 2 right answers up in the air and catching them.
Yeah, you got that one. Correct. Question: what's the function of part B, the twisty knob on the side of a microscope?
Oh, that moves the table up and down.
Yeah, you said adjusting the focus, which is correct.
Yes!
Another mark. Now, question number 4. The student tried to look at the cells using the microscope. Suggest one reason why the student could not see any cells when looking through part A. You said cap on the lens.
Yeah?
No marks for that. But
Why? That is a reason.
I did put in my notes that you were a bit unlucky because there were some other stupid answers that were allowed. So you would have been allowed. The lens was dirty.
Oh, fuck off! What? Dirt? No, but lens cap? Fuck.
Yeah. No.
Serious?
No cells in the field of view. I find.
Oh, there's always cells. How can there be no cells?
Slide not in the correct position, mirror not positioned, lens not clicked into place, which again seems really similar to cap on. Light.
Maybe they don't have a lens cap on microscopes.
I don't know if I've ever seen one.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they don't exist.
Yeah, maybe it's like
Shit.
if they'd said, "Oh, there's a towel over it," and it's like you don't usually get towels on microscopes.
Yeah, there was an elephant between the student and the microscope.
So then,
All right, but okay, so I've only dropped 1 mark.
yeah.
I'm still on 80%.
So then we moved on to question 5.
And I did really well at this because it's a compare one and I said so loads of times.
Yes, you did.
As per the exam prep. Excuse my
You
hiccups.
got much, much better at answering the question. But unfortunately, you didn't necessarily populate the so's with the information that was needed. What you kind of did was maybe set up another student with a good Mad Lib where they could then fill it in with the scientific fact of the matter. So you said, a red blood cell does not have a cell wall, while a plant cell does have a cell wall. That's bang. That's good.
Great.
Both types of cells have certain organelles, like nuclei, cell membranes, and ribosomes. Red blood cells don't have nuclei.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah. A cell contains chloroplasts and chlorophyll because a plant needs to photosynthesize, whereas a red blood cell does not because they are not found in creatures who photosynthesize. Yeah, that one was right as well.
Yes.
Red blood cells have storage for oxygen within them, and some specialized plant cells contain storage not for oxygen, but for glucose and or starch as the plant's requirements. With that, because we're talking about the structure of them, when you talk about things like the storage for oxygen and whatnot, and even when you're saying like the storage for glucose, you need to talk about what structures do that. So for red blood cells, what stores the oxygen?
Hemoglobin.
Yeah, hemoglobin. But you didn't say hemoglobin once in this answer.
I didn't know it at the time.
For plants, that's a vacuole or a starch crystal that would hold those other things. So I gave you 3 out of 6.
All right, I'm happy with that. I'm actually okay there.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Yeah, could have been worse, but also could have been better. You did start off by saying red blood cells have flagellum.
Oh, yeah, and then you said they didn't.
They do not. No.
What has flagellum?
Bacteria.
Oh.
Yeah. Soz.
Pretty close.
Question number 6 was about why red blood cells burst when they go into water and plant cells don't. 2 marks for this one, Laura. You said because the red blood cell does not have a cell wall, it absorbs water through its membrane via osmosis and then bursts because it gets too full. The plant cell does have a cell wall and it does not succumb to the same internal viral absorption. I guess I must have missed out the word pressure there. But 9 out of 13 for question 1, Laura.
Okay. Do you know what? But like you said, I feel like it's going to get worse as the exam goes.
Yeah, hold on to this feeling.
Okay. Oh, I hate being thick. I'm doing another project now where I'm really clever, and it's much nicer for my brain.
She's 2, Laura. It's not a project, and you're only smart compared to her.
I'm not, though.
So
I just tried to baby bird feed her because she wouldn't leave my lunch alone. So I blooped some out my mouth, and she was like, "Mum, that's disgusting."
oh, I miss her.
You should come down.
Can I stay with you second week of December?
Yeah, props.
Cool. Question number 2 was all about antibiotics and growing things on an agar plate and seeing how the antibiotics killed the bacteria.
I think I did okay here. I remember this going okay.
Well... So the thing about this is that you... and actually it's highlighted in orange because you were going to come back to 2.1, but you never did. So it was 0 marks there. And then...
Oh, yeah, because I didn't know what aseptic meant.
Yeah. And then you might...
What does aseptic mean?
Without bacteria. So antiseptic would be like killing the bacteria somewhere. Aseptic would be techniques that mean the bacteria never get there.
Okay.
So things that you would do with that is like there's like quite a specific way that you act when you're doing biology labs like this, and like you keep the lids off of things for as little time as possible to stop stuff from getting in there. Often when you're preparing like agar plates or any of this stuff, what you'll do is you'll just have a Bunsen burner burning next to where you are, and that keeps an air current moving away from where you're working, stop stuff from landing on things, and it's like little stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, even if we'd remembered to come back, I wasn't going to suddenly learn that.
No, but honestly,
So-
that's all that's all uni stuff anyway, because this is sterilise equipment and surfaces before doing it. Use sterilised agar, secure the lid with adhesive tape so nothing gets in, only lift the lid a little. That's what I was saying about not taking the lid off that much.
Yeah.
You could have got 1, maybe 2, but...
If I'd known what aseptic
Yeah.
meant, maybe.
But I think you could have worked that out. You know what it means if something goes septic. And you know, like, what A in front of something, asexual.
Yeah, that means asexual. Means I'm gonna have sex on it.
Anywho,
I nearly said a much worse one there. I was going to say it means I put my fanny on it, but I decided not to for you. But now I have, because you groaned at my clean one anyway. Good gulping, Ron.
thank you. I have breakfast now. Yeah.
Do you?
Oh, we've already talked about my
Granola?
my porridge. It's
Granola?
not the sort of thing I'd eat.
It's basically is porridge, though. It's just drier.
Yeah. But also doesn't have like loads of sugar in it.
No, I don't put any sugar in my
Can you
one.
put loads of chocolate in your one?
I put cocoa powder, but not chocolate.
Sounds delicious. Anyway, then we then look at the area where the bacteria haven't grown around these antibiotic discs. You had to identify which one was the least effective, and you said B because it has the smallest area of no bacterial growth. That is correct. You score a point.
I remember having that the wrong way round for the first bit. But
Yeah, you did.
yes.
Then we had to do some maths and work out the area where there was no bacteria growing. I had to give you the measurements, but then you correctly deduced it was 379.94 millimeters squared. And yep,
5 big marks.
5 big ones for that, yeah.
Yes.
Then you were asked to improve the investigation. You said use a different agar plate for each antibiotic to stop them from interfering with each other.
Yeah.
That was not one of the answers.
Oh, I'm bad at these change the experiment questions.
Yeah. There was no evidence. Why?
Well, there's no evidence there's anything wrong with the test, so I don't know.
But why would the antibiotics interfere with each other?
I don't know, Ron. They're just too near each other or something. Like, one of them could be interfering with the air above the plate, and then that's affecting how much bacteria gets to the other two. You know, maybe it's too strong. I don't know what's wrong with the test, so I can't suggest a fix to a problem. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as the old saying goes.
It's very funny. It's just always I find this quality that you have really funny, where you're just told you're wrong, and then you'll just wax lyrical about why you might be right.
Well, because I'm just saying, here's how my brain got there.
The options, like always with these things, it's usually out of control or do more tests.
Out of control, add a control.
Out of control or do more tests. So use a control disc, i.e. put a disc in there with no antibiotic on it to see how much, like just like the paper in the disc is killing bacteria rather than the antibiotic itself. That's one.
Oh.
And then repeat and calculate a mean. Averages obviously work better. Repeat and eliminate anomalies would be another one.
Okay, I'll remember that for chemistry then. I reckon that sort of thing will come up a lot in chemistry.
Repeats, averages, controls.
Repeat, average, control.
Yeah, that.
Eat, sleep, average, repeat, control.
That sort of thing. So 6 out of 9 for question 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still up there though. I'm still above 50%.
Yeah, you drop off a plateau rather than roll down a hill.
Shut up though, because I haven't yet. Have I? No. So right now,
Happy plateau. Happy plateau.
Oh my God, today, Ron, for the first time in Asda, I heard Christmas music.
Nice, what song?
Have a holly jolly Christmas, I think.
A Christmas music episode would be fun.
What's the science of Christmas music? Like, we could listen to 100 songs and get the average beats per minute and see if there's a perfect one.
That's not a podcast, that's a number.
Yeah, well, we talk about it. What other science could we do?
Does it have to be science?
What note is used most?
Could we not just do the history?
But we always make it sciencey when it's on the main feed.
Maybe.
We could do that as a Patreon Christmas episode.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Okay, I'll put it in the spreader.
Question number 3 then, Laura.
Oh, I've got so many tabs open.
This is where the rage set in. And you did lose some marks because of said rage.
Well, I think the rage was justified, though.
You correctly identified that person B's BMI was normal.
Oh, come on, though. This rage was legit rage. This wasn't rage at failing. This was rage at the world. Rage to the world, the angels sing.
Yeah.
Ah, 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 ah.
I think it was... It
Ah,
really sounds like you're laughing.
It's a song that lends itself to laughing. Okay.
Righteous rage, but you can't let that interfere with your exam because later
Ron,
on...
you have to take a stand for what you believe in.
Later on, Laura, you started your answer to a question. Hey, you know those normal men? That's not how you should be answering questions in an exam.
We're just normal men. I think my rage is the sort of thing that, yes, I sacrificed my own A-star grade here that I would have got had this rage not been here.
This is one of your better questions, actually.
However, in future years, people will study my bravery.
So, 3.2, you had to calculate their BMI, which you almost did correctly. You were asked to give it to 3 significant figures. You gave it to 5. I don't think you know what a significant figure is.
I do. Big fat fatty! that good?
I liked it.
I thought it was how many figures after the decimal point.
No, that's decimal places.
Oh.
A significant figure is kind of like a decimal place, but anywhere. So you put 31.464. Three significant figures would be 31.5. 315.
Okay.
Three significant figures.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You never taught me that.
That's maths, not science. Do you want to do this again, GCSE maths?
I do not run. I simply do not do. I'd rather eat a bowl of snot.
One mention of Christmas music and your demeanour's changed a lot.
Oh, I loved hearing it.
I think you're trying to dissociate what's going on from...
I've got sparklers for tonight, Ron.
Oh, I'm going to see some fireworks as well.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go up to Clifton and then see if we can see anything, and then if not, go down to Brandon Hill, because we reckon Bristol with those views is going to be banging.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like from my house, because I live on the top of a very big hill. So this whole last week, we've just been looking out the window and watching them. Yesterday, we tried to eat dinner in the dark so we could see them better, and there's food everywhere.
Anywho, you were asked to describe two patterns that a table shows about the effects of BMI category. You said, hey, you know those normal men? The predicted number of good health years over the age of 50 decreases for the people in higher BMI category, and predicted number of years in bad health increases for the people in higher. I think that's something that you really learnt from the foundation exams. 2 marks. That was very well answered, Laura.
Yes.
Now, the next one. Explain the financial impact on the UK economy of increasing number of people who are obese.
Yeah, point to a lie in my answer. You won't find one. It's not what the man wants me to say, but it's accurate.
It is good for the economy because people are more muscly and have been interacting with businesses to gain this muscle. It's good for...
I didn't say that.
You did. It's good for supermarkets, which is good for the economy, because people with a lot of muscle can carry more shopping away from retail centres, and therefore
Correct.
will boost the UK economy. As obese people get more and more swole, they have to buy more and more clothes and have to give away
Correct.
more of their clothes to charity shops, which is... That's where it stops.
Is that where I stopped? I think I probably kept talking and you stopped writing, probably.
Probably. So that was 0 marks.
No, that's true stuff.
No.
It is.
But that's not how exams work. There's no box that just says allow true stuff.
Wow.
Because it's about costing the NHS,
Protest.
additional surgeries, more time
Protest.
off work.
Protest.
Government has to give financial support.
Protest.
No, there's nothing about muscly people.
I'm classed as obese. I don't have any of those things.
Yeah, but that's not how statistics work, Laura.
Fuck statistics. I'm interested in people.
I don't want to come off like I'm bashing overweight people, but that's not...
You're not. The exam paper is, and I'm livid about
you've
it.
misunderstood where your rage was coming from. Your rage was coming from BMI, not from these things.
I'm mad at this paper using BMI.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Then you had to answer a question about arthritis. You just said it makes it painful to move, which affects business and leisure activities and performance. Which was funny.
Why is that fun?
That's business and leisure
Good work,
activities
Laura.
and performance. Yeah, it's just funny. Then you correctly identified that someone that eats too much saturated fat increases the risk of heart attacks and a stroke. Laura, you got 8 out of 11 on that one.
Very strong.
Yeah. welcome to the top of the mountain. 'Cause
Oh no.
now we're sliding back down. Question 4. All living organisms respire. You had to give the chemical equation for aerobic respiration from 4. This was where you got one of your helps, but you did get that one correct. Water and CO2 go in, oxygen and sugar come out. You had to name the subcellular structures where aerobic respiration take place. You said mitochondria, and that was correct as well. The powerhouse of the cell.
Makes ATP.
4.3. Give 2 uses of energy, of the energy used in respiration. You said movement and growth. Only one of those was correct. It was movement. In fact, actually, in the mark scheme, it says ignore growth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cell repair?
Not in there, to be honest. It says allow cell division.
Warmth?
Warmth is one. Active transport, building larger molecules.
Well, that's gross.
It says ignore growth, Laura.
Well, who are you? The UK economy?
Hey!
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 Reevesy!
Then we talked about anaerobic respiration versus aerobic. You were not allowed to refer to oxygen in your answer. You said anaerobic respiration produces lactic acid, aerobic does not. Ding, mark. You said aerobic respiration can be done indefinitely. Aerobic respiration leads to muscle fatigue and sickness.
Other way round.
Oh, I've got it written aerobic both ways there. My bad.
Okay.
I'll presume you said it right.
I probably did. You know me.
Yeah. Lactic acid was obviously correct.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there about being able to do any of them forever, I'm afraid, so I couldn't give you that mark.
Oh, I think you can, though.
You had to, the 2 products of anaerobic respiration in plants, ethanol, carbon dioxide, like a lovely bubbly beer. Very good.
Yes.
Then we started talking about the snail in the tube.
There was a snail in a tube?
Yeah. Focus up, Laura.
Oh, yeah, that tube. Oh, I remember this poor guy. I didn't like this bit. They killed the snail just for this.
Yeah, and starved the snail to death as well.
Yeah.
Very odd. Anyway, the snail and some pondweed, they were left in a pipe for 5 days. And then we tracked how much oxygen, how much carbon dioxide, rather, was in the water. You cannily explained why there was why the concentration of carbon dioxide stayed the same for 5 days. It was because there was an equilibrium between the carbon dioxide being produced, presumably by the snail, and being absorbed by the pondweed.
I've never thought of a little snail just giving out little CO2 bubbles. Ho-ho. Breathing out. Ho-ho. Do they have lungs?
No, probably
I
not.
guess they do. Oh, they don't.
Actually, I can't give you both of those marks. Sorry, you only got one for that one.
Why?
Because you have to have said the snail and the pondweed are producing the CO2 and you have not.
Oh.
Sorry. Then the next question was why the concentration increased after day 5. And that you said black paper blocked the light, meaning that the pondweed could not photosynthesize and absorb any of the carbon dioxide. Hang on, if I just... Because I've not given you any marks for that. Oh, I think I must have just combined those two, because you did get that. Wait, no, you did get that wrong. Sorry. Sorry, I doubted myself. So you said black blocked the light, could not photosynthesize or absorb any carbon dioxide, but you did not say that the snail and the plant are still respiring, releasing CO2. And you needed both to get the mark for that one.
Oh.
Then it came to question 7, why the concentration...
The death of the snail.
Yeah, the snail. Unfortunately, you only got 1 mark here.
Out of 3?
Yeah, 1 mark out of 3.
Oh, sad, I expect. I can't be expected to focus after a tragedy.
You said decomposition of the snail's body released stored carbon dioxide from within the snail's tissues. What you needed to say was the snail is being decomposed, that's where you got your mark, by decomposers in the pond water. And then respiration by those decomposers releases the CO2.
Well, I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, so 8 out of 14 on that one.
Still over 50. I'm on track for 50%.
Okay. Then we moved on to question 5. Amylase is an enzyme that breaks down starch. What's the monomer of a protein, Laura?
An amino acid.
And you got the mark on the exam as well. Good job. You had to name 3 parts of the human digestive system for 2 marks. You said small intestines, pancreas, and salivary glands. This was with a help.
I think this was you said those things.
Yeah. But you got them. Anyway, they're written down. Yeah, that was your final help. But you did get the marks there.
Yes.
Question 5.3 was explain how amylase breaks down starch. Answer in terms of lock and key theory. You said amylase has an active site that when starch comes into contact with amylase, it fits into. This is described as lock and key theory because a key fits into a lock in the same way that starch fits into amylase, and breaking down happens and the starch is reduced into its components parts.
Ding, ding.
3 marks, yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, that was correct, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because you said the words active site.
Yes.
Wait, hang on. I'm just reading this again.
Don't read. Don't keep checking. Every time you check, I lose marks.
You're getting 2 marks, not 3, because you didn't say that it binds to the active site.
I did.
I'm sorry.
Oh, can you stop double checking?
Might actually only be 1.
No!
A chemical reaction occurs to produce smaller molecules, or bonds between the starch molecules are broken down. But you just said, and the breaking down happens.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that's going to be 1 as well.
No, Ron, no.
So this is why we do this. You always got to check your work twice.
No.
It's been very generous when I marked that before.
Being a piece of shit.
Okay, question 5.4 was about the investigation into starch solution getting digested by amylase in test tubes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think this one went well from memory.
Name 2 control variables. You said volumes of starch and amylase and time.
Yep.
It says ignore time, unqualified, so I ignored that.
Why is time ignored?
Because you have to say, like, what time where.
5 minutes.
But if you look at it, so after 5 minutes, but then, yeah, you just have to say time before mixing or time in between things and stuff. You just have to qualify what time you mean. And then, so it says any 2 from and then it gives volume of this starch solution, volume of this, volume of that. You just said volumes of starch and amylase, so I just gave you a mark for that. I think you get it. But I don't know if an actual marker would have given you that. So 1 out of 2 there. Why did the student leave the starch solution and amylase in the solution for 5 minutes before mixing?
To get them to temperature.
Yes, like a fish in a bag. And you got the mark for that. Now, can you hear that noise?
That's you sighing.
No, that's the wheels coming off the trolley. Then we had what conclusion can be made about the effect of temperature on amylase activity between 20 degrees and 65? You said, as the temperature increases, the amylase breaks down the starch more efficiently. Any thoughts on that?
I assume it's wrong.
Yeah.
You're talking to me like it's the end of A Dream in the Sun and I can't move to my villa in Spain because my mortgage fell through.
So when the iodine solution stays a yellow-brown, that's how you know all the starch has been broken down. It took 5 minutes at 20 degrees, and it took 14 minutes at 65. And it peaks in the middle at 35 degrees with 2.
Oh.
So, yeah, that was... I'd have given you negative marks there, if I could.
No.
I can't, but if I could. Then you had a big 5 marker to say explain the results at 5 degrees and 80 degrees. You said at 5 degrees there is no starch present in the solution.
Is that not right?
Well, no, because they mix starch in at the beginning of the at the beginning of the fucking experiment, don't they? Why have I given you 2 marks for this? This is a dog shit answer.
But if it earned 2 marks, you can't question it now. It's already been submitted.
Okay. It's because there's actual ticky things. At 5 degrees, this is the weird thing about what you've written. You said at 5 degrees there is no starch present in the solution, and then you say at 5 degrees there is still starch present after 5 minutes because the amylase has not been heating sufficiently to have the energy to catalyze all the starch present at that time. At 80, too hot. The amylase has been cooked and can't process the starch.
I think what would happen, though, is that an examiner reading this would really feel like we were buddies by this point and would understand my chatty way of answering questions. You know? They'd have a sense of me, they'd know what I meant, and they'd think, yeah, she's just informal.
That's not how it works.
I think it would. Picturing a guy called Jeff. He's retired, but he marks in his spare time.
So then for the next one, you had to explain again how you could extend this investigation to determine the effect of a different factor on amylase. You said, instead of changing the temperature, but change the amount of light that the beaker was exposed to using different lamps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can argue this if you want. I gave you 1 out of 2 marks for that. Keep temperature constant. That's what you got a mark for. But then it says, but change named factor and test a range of values of named factor. Named factor, e.g. pH or enzyme concentration or subject concentration or inhibitor concentration. So you have said a named factor, which is brand of lamp, I guess. But
no, like wattage of lamp.
But there's no interaction between light and amylase.
Well, I don't know that until I've done the investigation, do I?
I suppose not. You know what? I'll give it you.
Yes! It's science, Ron. You have to rule out all these things.
So that leaves you, Laura, with 10 out of 17.
Still over half.
Still over half.
Only half the wheels have come off. So yes, it's hard to pull my truck, but you know what? Goes along the ground and doesn't even have wheels. It's a sleigh.
Then we start talking about the structure of a leaf.
Oh, yeah.
Buckle up. Which cell is the most transparent? You correctly deduced A because it's at the top, so the light needs to pass through it. I don't know if that's what you're thinking. I don't know if you were thinking, but...
I think you told me that one.
Right, okay. But you got that one. Next was, in which cell structure in a leaf mesophyll cell is not found in a root hair cell? You said chloroplasts. Again, why would a root need to photosynthesize?
Correct.
Then, name the cells in a leaf which control the rate of water loss.
I think I said stomata and you were like, no, the stomata's the whole.
Yeah, the stomata's the whole. The cells around it are called guard cells.
Oh, yeah, that rings a bell.
It's a bit like saying which cells let you fart, and you said anus rather than anus cell, kind of.
Yeah, that's not fair, really, is it? A bit cruel. Bit cruel.
Water is taken in by the roots and then lost in the leaves. What's that called? You said active transport. That was a stab in the dark. No, it was the transpiration stream.
Transpiration stream.
Increased humidity would decrease the rate of water loss. You correctly identified that. Then we got onto a big marker.
6. Oh, I don't know which way round xylem and phloem goes. So, yeah, I can see why this one fell in a hoop.
Phloem has tubes.
Not true.
Phloem has tubes. Phloem has the perforated joins of cells like a little centipede.
It's giving modern poetry, isn't it?
Xylem has ladders for sugar going up and down. Phloem only goes one way. Structural more in xylem.
I don't think you're really doing your best to translate this into sentences, are you?
No, I'm writing down verbatim what you say.
Well, I thought I was sort of giving you the information and you'd make it into lines.
No.
Okay,
We've
well, I know that
marked
for chemistry
3
now.
of these. So that's a big fat 0 out of 6 on that one. Apart from phloem has tubes. Which,
Don't get a mark for that.
no, because it says compare the structure. If you'd said phloem has tubes and xylem has tubes, then maybe I'd have been forced to give you one solitary mark. 6.7, I believe you deigned to just not do because you were so angry at this point. And then the rate of water loss at midnight was much lower than at noon. Explain why. You said cold at midnight and there's no sun. No photosynthesis. Not sweating. Of which you got 1 out of 2 marks. Because you said it's cold. And that was the end of question 6.
Oh,
4 out of 17.
oh, really ate some dumpy turds there.
Yeah. Question 7, last question. Describe what happens to cells when a tumour forms. You said they have rapid uncontrollable growth. That is correct. Mark.
Yes.
Then, so we've got this picture. There's 3 tumours, 2 on the liver and 1 on the lungs. The one on the lung is a lot bigger than the 2 on the liver.
Yeah.
The question you asked was, what evidence is there in figure 11 to suggest that the tumour in the lung is malignant?
Raggedy edges and bigger.
No.
Oh.
That's what you said. You said it's weird shaped, jaggedy edges and big.
Ah!
But no, it's because
She's consistent.
because it's spread to other parts of the body. That's what metastasize means. I think there's potential that you're right that metastasized tumours do have weird edges or stuff more, but
I know moles do. They look for like raggedy shapes on moles.
yeah. Okay, maybe we're thinking of moles. Let's move on. Then you had another big 6 marker. Some types of cancer cause the number of blood components in a person's cell to fall to a dangerously low level. And then you had to talk about tiredness, frequent infections, and bleeding that will not stop. And then explain how a very low number of blood components in the body can lead to these symptoms. You said, blood flow reduces tiredness by delivering oxygen to organs and muscles. So reduced blood components decreases oxygen delivery and increases fatigue. Blood is a key factor in fighting infection in the human immune system, so without enough blood components, infections can't be reached. Blood cells are also required to make scabs over cuts and form a barrier to stop more stuff getting into a cut.
Sounds pretty good to me.
But I think, again, it's one of these ones where, like, you're close, but then you don't talk about any of the specifics. So what? So when it's like talking about blood components, it's the hemoglobin and the red blood cells aren't there.
I don't know
to
though.
transport the oxygen. You do talk about. No, you don't. You don't mention like white blood cells for fighting infections. You don't talk about platelets in there. So I gave you 2 out of 6. That might even have been generous.
That feels harsh.
Sorry, but no. Then we talk about different blood types and antigens and stuff on them. Question 7.4 says, it is dangerous for a patient with blood group A to receive red blood cells from donor group B. You said, explain why. You said, for 3 marks, you said, their red blood cells will bind together with the antigens.
I think we had a bit of an argument before this one, and I was cross.
Yeah. I did give you 1 mark for that, but I have written in my notes generous.
Pat yourself on the back harder, mate.
All right, I'll fucking take it away then.
No.
That 1 mark is the difference between you getting 50% and not, so keep stum.
Yeah, I think we'd fallen out before that one, Ron, and I was cross.
There's potential for that, yeah. Question 7.5 was explain why blood group O red blood cells can be given to patients with any blood group. You said no antigens on the outside. You got a mark for that, but then you didn't say so antibodies can't bind to the antigens.
No, because I just said that in the last one.
No, you
myself.
You didn't.
I did. You said that was the only thing I did say for 3 marks.
Then for 7.6, you had to identify. So you had to this was about telling the difference between something in standard form.
I don't know what that is.
A percentage, a probability, well, 2 things in standard form, a percentage and a probability. And you didn't choose the right one. You chose Hep B instead of Hep C. And then we finished off the exam with a 5-marker. A person has a tumour blocking the tube leading from the gallbladder to the small intestine. Explain why this person would have difficulty digesting fat. You said, tumour gets in the way of the fat moving about. Restricts the blood flow to the small intestine so the villi can't digest the fat.
Sounds good.
No, so the gallbladder produces bile. Bile is the emulsifier, so fat can be digested. So if you're blocking the tube, the bile can't get in there. And then you have a smaller surface area for the lipase, which is the enzyme that breaks down fat to do its job because it's not dissolved. Also, the bile also helps regulate the pH of the small intestine.
I just didn't know any of this, though.
We have talked about lipase and bile and stuff. Billy Rubin, remember Billy Rubin?
1,000 years ago.
This is why you're supposed to revise for your exams.
I didn't.
I know. So you got a squirrely 0 out of 5 for that one, leaving you to get 5 out of 19 for the last one, and 50 out of 100 exactly for the exam.
Well, look, I was aiming for 50% on the foundation. So the fact that I've got that on higher tier is not that bad.
No. I'm glad we did foundation, though. I'm glad we did higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is what the people wanted.
Do we know what that translated to?
No, we traditionally we do that together. AQA, GCSE, higher tier grade boundaries.
Biology tier H. So it would be 100, wouldn't it? Because we doubled it. So that's between a 6 and a 7. So it would be a 6, basically. That's higher than I got on foundation, isn't it? We were 5s across the board on foundation.
Yeah, well, that's the highest you can get with foundation.
Yeah, so somewhere between... I'm very close to a 7.
Whatever that means. Yeah, you are.
What does a 6 in GCSE mean in letters? 6 is a high B.
Oh.
I was not far off an A, Ron.
That's not bad at all. It
I'm
felt
chuffed
worse.
with that. It did feel a lot worse.
Felt a lot worse.
And this was my worst subject, so there's a chance I could be getting an A in physics.
There is a chance. We'll see how you get on.
I'm going to do some research. Okay. All right. Not so bad.
Smashing.
I'm not going to drown myself this afternoon.
Hooray!
Yay me! Okay, Ron, here's what I was thinking could be fun. So you haven't listened back, so you won't remember this, but there's a bit in this where answering the BMI question, I just stop mid-sentence. How about we run a competition for the best Finnish answer to my BMI question?
I love it. And extra points for the more inflammatory it is.
Yeah, the more rage-filled, the more there's no box for truths were uttered, or whatever it was you said, I'll knit you a prize for the best answer.
There's
How
no
about
box
that?
for truth.
Yeah, something like that you said. Oh, there's no box that says points for speaking the truth. You were being a real shabby cat at that point. You were mad at me. So
I think I was.
let's say, where should we post these? Facebook or Instagram or both? You can tell us on Facebook or Instagram. We've stopped using X because it's a cesspit. We can't be asked. I'm not sure if we're on Blue Sky or Threads. I am, but I don't know if I've done Lexx Ed. I haven't done any Lexx Ed social media in so long. But listen, I'm going to. This weekend in Manchester, I'm going to post so many alternative titles, and you're going to have to go back and listen to so many episodes to remember what you'd posted on watch episodes. I'm going to catch up. But give us your best finishes to my BMI answer, and we'll see who wins.
The winner gets a shout out on the podcast, probably.
And a knitted thing. I'll post you a knitted thing.
Oh, did you already say that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You're not feeling well, are you, Ron?
No.
It's going to be a bloody downer of a Christmas episode we're about to record.
Yeah.
Maybe... Have you had a flu jab, Ron?
No.
I had a flu jab this year and I haven't had a cold yet this winter.
I had someone look at my ears yesterday.
Right. Was that
'Cause
nice?
I just keep on putting my fingers in my ears, so I figured they must be blocked or something. So,
Yeah, with your fingers.
yeah. And then I had a dream. I had a bad night's sleep, and I had like one dream that like chunks of skin were coming out my ears. And then I had another bit in the morning where I was lying there and I was convinced there were spiders in my ears. So then I was like, right, I just have to get this looked at. And then the man was like, no, you've got really clean ears, man. And I was like, sick.
Do you use cotton buds in your ears?
No,
Why don't you have any earwax then?
don't know. Just, well, I think from my fingers. I don't know.
Oh, I forgot you have got those weirdly skinny fingers with
I'm in-
little bits of cotton wool on the end.
I'm in a long saga with my GP at the moment where
He wants you to take your fingers out your ears?
no, they asked me to take my blood pressure just because I was changing GP, and then they sent me a text and they were like, this is higher than we'd expect it to be at home. Can you then measure your blood pressure like twice a day for a week? And I was like, I didn't do this at home. I had to walk to the thing, which like makes your blood pressure go up a bit. There was only 2 above on one and it was 8 below on the other, and all of this is lower than what's a healthy blood pressure. So it's just fine. But then because I had to walk there slightly, and I have to go, I've had to go over 3 times and keep measuring my blood pressure, and it keeps going down and down and down because I'm a nice boy, I'm healthy.
I'm sorry, Ron.
It's okay.
I have low blood pressure too.
I've got normal, optimal blood pressure.
Mine's really low. Sometimes I can't see when I stand up.
You should eat more salt.
I eat loads of salt.
You do.
I eat 90% salt. I don't think my blood's very good because when I went to give blood, I only just had enough iron in my blood to donate, and that's with taking iron supplements every day.
Yeah.
I think my blood possibly does have flagella. Anyway, right, we'll see you next week.
You've got a register to do, Laura.
Have we?
Yes, because we did it last week, and then we just didn't edit those intros, outros on, and I had to do...
Oh, yeah. You did secret sleepy ones because I got to my Airbnb. Oh, my God, the internet was just dire. It's been so long since I've stayed somewhere that just basically didn't have internet. But it was a lovely Airbnb. I feel like I accidentally sort of like conned some people because they said, can you come and do this gig? And it was really far away, like up near Newcastle, right in the middle of nowhere in Yorkshire. And Tom happened to be gigging nearby. So I said, I can do, but listen, I'm going to have the dog and the kid. Like, you know, can you help me find somewhere to stay that I can accommodate all of them? And they booked me this gorgeous Airbnb that had space for all of us, and it was absolutely beautiful instead of like your bog standard hotel, you know. And then in the end, I didn't take child of the podcast or dog. I left them with parents of the podcast. So me and Tom just stayed in this fabulous Airbnb, and I felt a bit sneaky.
That's fine.
Yeah. Anyway.
I had been lying in bed for 25 minutes, half an hour, and then my podcast stopped, and I was like, that's weird. Why has that happened? Looked at my phone, getting a call from a number that for some reason it didn't pop up and said Laura, it just said a mobile number.
Oh.
Which is why I answered and then I didn't say anything because I was asleep. Judith was asleep next to me. And then I didn't recognise your voice, and I was like, well, I'm just not going to follow this up. And then I got a call from you on WhatsApp, and then I was like, ugh, this is going to be podcast related. Laura's going to be a turd if I don't do it.
I wasn't going to be a turd, Ron, but it was kind of your fault for not uploading the episode earlier.
Yeah, but you also didn't put the intros, outros in there. I think we're both to blame a bit.
Yeah. But you solved it with an intro, outro that some people couldn't hear.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
Some people could hear. Some people said was like ASMR. But we all know was a botch job. But listen, these ones have been fundamentally brilliant. Okay, Ron, do the register quickly because I need to go and take the bread out of the oven.
You have to do it.
I don't know where it is.
All right, next week.
Next
Class
week.
dismissed.
We're finally going to do these intros, outros. All right. Listen, you lot. Thank you very much. Next week will be Chemistry 1. The timetable gets all a bit befuddled here. In true Lexx Ed style, we've not really planned very well, and we've got Chemistry 1 next week. Then we're going to have a little break for Christmas. Then it'll be Chemistry 2, moving into results and physics in the new year. So you've got your last lesson next week before we stop for some Christmas content. So have a lovely week. First week of Advent. I hope your calendars treat you nicely. Ron, I've got my extra special expensive calendar again.
Oh, nice.
I didn't buy it this year, though. My friends bought it for me.
Wow, for your birthday.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Should we try and do that half-hearted spreadsheet again?
No, that was long and not interesting.
Okay. All right. Love you, bye.
Class dismissed. Pencils down.